Dr. Jennifer Arnold, known for her role on TLC's reality series The Little Couple, recently shared an emotional and deeply personal message about a wave of sadness that has struck her family. Known for her calm demeanor, remarkable work as a neonatologist, and her strength as both a wife and mother, Arnold rarely opens up about her private life. But in a heartfelt social media post, followed by interviews, she admitted to being brought to tears and praying for a miracle during one of the most painful times her family has ever experienced. Though she chose not to reveal the exact nature of the tragedy, citing privacy and the delicate nature of the situation, Arnold made it clear that the pain is profound and the future uncertain. She confessed, "Over the last few weeks, I've shed more tears than I have in years. There are times when I feel totally shattered. I don't know the solutions. The strength I typically rely on is not with me. I only have trust, and it's being put to the ultimate test right now." Arnold, who has a rare form of dwarfism called spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia congenita and stands just over 3 feet tall, has spent much of her life overcoming immense challenges. In her role as a doctor specializing in neonatal intensive care, she has stood by families in moments of unimaginable heartbreak, often being their source of strength. But now, facing her own family's loss, she admits to feeling helpless. "I've dedicated my professional life to supporting people during their darkest hours. When parents have lost babies, I have held their hands. No parent should ever have to hear the diagnosis I've described. Hope seems like a faraway memory in the hospital rooms where I've stood. However, nothing can prepare you for what happens when your own family is involved or when your own heart is breaking." Her husband, Bill Klein, has stood beside her during this difficult time. The couple, married since 2009, are known for their deep bond and resilience, often overcoming physical and societal challenges as a little-person couple. Together they built a loving family, adopting their son Will in 2014 and welcoming their daughter Zoe through surrogacy in 2017. Their lives have often been portrayed as full of love and strength, but Arnold reminds us that even the strongest families face moments of sorrow. She admitted that even her previous struggles, medical school, health issues, and public scrutiny, pale in comparison to what she's facing now. "People see the milestones, the vacations, the smiles, the show," she said. "However, they are unable to observe the intimate moments such as the late-night sobs, the anxieties, and the silent prayers, and I'm currently consumed by those private moments." The loss, she explained, has impacted multiple generations of her family, not just her immediate household. She didn't say whether the loss came from illness, an accident, or something else, but she did say that more than one life had been lost. What has changed is the future. The holidays will never be the same, though. It's the discussions that will never take place. The dreams are what have been destroyed. And I feel totally unmoored because I organize everything, every family vacation, school function, and medical situation. I'm not sure how to prepare for this kind of suffering. Arnold has always leaned on her Christian faith, but now she finds herself praying with a new kind of desperation. "I continue to pray, every day, occasionally several times per hour. However, these are not prayers of thanksgiving or wisdom. These are cries of desperation. Please, I'm pleading for a miracle from God. I don't know how else to get through this. Not because I believe I deserve one. I'm requesting tranquility, for healing, for the fortitude to continue." She admitted that faith doesn't erase the pain or stop the tears, but it does give her hope. "I don't understand why this happened. I might never comprehend. But even though I can't see it yet, I have to think that there is a purpose. I have to think that love endures. People are kept alive by that remembrance. Even though it may take years, that healing is achievable." Arnold also shared how hard it is to balance her public persona with such personal grief. She's used to sharing her life with millions, but this time she chose not to go into detail. "I know people will want to know what happened. They will conjecture. They'll look for solutions. Some things, however, are too sacred to discuss. Some agony is too intense to describe. I can only say that my family is in pain and that we are trying our hardest to get through this. I request privacy because we need time and space to grieve in our own manner, not because we are concealing anything." Support has poured in from fans, friends, and colleagues, with many offering prayers, condolences, and acts of kindness. Arnold said she's grateful, even though grief can feel isolating. "The generosity has been tremendous," she said. "I'm reminded that I'm not alone when I see people sharing their personal grief stories, lighting candles, and sending cards. However, mourning can also be very isolating. You feel isolated in your grief even when you are surrounded by love. One of the most painful parts of the experience, she said, was telling her children. At 7 and 10, Zoe and Will are old enough to understand the concept of loss, but may struggle with the emotions that come with it. Arnold, who has always tried to shield her children from pain, found herself in the unimaginable position of not being able to protect them. Telling them was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I had to say things in front of them that I didn't want to say. I was forced to respond to queries for which I had no responses. Additionally, I had to observe them while they dealt with something that no child should ever have to deal with. You want to make everything right as a parent. However, I can't repair this. Dr. Jennifer Arnold explained how she and her husband Bill have worked hard to create a safe space for their children to express their feelings. Whether it's writing letters to a lost loved one, talking, drawing, or simply sitting together in silence, they're helping their kids process grief. She said, "We're teaching them that it's okay to cry. It's acceptable to be angry. It's acceptable to be confused. Grief is something you learn to carry, not something you get over." This experience has changed the way Arnold thinks about love, legacy, and life. As a doctor, she was trained to focus on outcomes, survival, recovery, and statistics. But now she realizes that life is more than just results. What matters most are the moments. Being present. Saying, "I love you" while you still can. Taking the trip you've been putting off. Holding hands. Laughing at silly things. She admitted that she spent so much of her life planning for the future, but now she's learning the value of living in the present. She also had to rethink her relationship with control. As a neonatologist, she's used to being in charge, leading teams, making decisions, helping families. But in her personal life, she's faced the painful truth that some things are simply out of her hands. "I have no control over who lives or dies. I have no influence over who becomes ill or is injured. I can't change the past or predict the future. What I can control is how I respond, how I love, how I remember, how I honor those we've lost." Experts say her honesty may help change how people talk about grief. Dr. Elena Martinez, a clinical psychologist who works with people dealing with loss, said that society often pushes people to stay strong and move on, but true healing comes from acknowledging pain. When someone like Dr. Arnold, who is respected and successful, says, "I'm broken, I'm crying, I'm begging for a miracle," it gives others permission to be honest about their own suffering too. Martinez also said that Arnold's focus on faith and prayer is important. For many people, spirituality can bring comfort during loss. It doesn't replace therapy or support groups, but can add a sense of meaning and community. Even when nothing else seems to help, faith can offer a reason to keep going. Arnold has made it clear that she doesn't plan to get over the loss. She wants to live in a way that keeps the memory of her loved one close. "I don't want to forget. I don't want to move on without the lessons, the love, and the memory. I want to carry this person with me always." She's also started to think about how this loss might shape her medical work. "I've always tried to be compassionate, but now I think I'll be able to connect more deeply with families. I used to understand loss with my mind. Now I feel it in my bones. Maybe that will make me a better doctor." Even in her grief, Arnold has found moments of light. A hug from her son, a drawing from her daughter. These small things feel like miracles to her. Not the kind where illness disappears or someone comes back to life, but quiet miracles. Waking up and realizing you made it through another day. Laughing at a memory instead of crying. Feeling connected to someone, even when they're gone. These, she said, are miracles too. She also offered comfort to others going through pain. "Please know that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to cry, to shout, to fall apart. And it's also okay to hope, to pray, to believe that even in darkness, light can still break through. I don't have all the answers, but I do believe love never dies. As long as we remember, honor, and keep loving those we've lost, they are never really gone." Arnold continues to live with honesty, humility, and faith. She wakes up each morning. She kisses her kids. She goes to work. She keeps praying. The grief hasn't ended, but she's moving through it with an open heart and the strength to keep going. "I'm still praying every day, for peace, for healing, for a miracle, and I'm not going to stop. As long as I can breathe, I'll keep hoping. And as long as I have hope, I'll keep loving." After Arnold shared her story, she received an overwhelming response of love and support from fans. Many shared their own experiences of loss, saying her words made them feel less alone. Social media has been flooded with messages, and hashtags like #StillPraying and #MiracleFortune have become symbols of shared grief and hope, not just attention. Medical colleagues also praised her bravery and her continued dedication to her work. Dr. Michael Thompson, a fellow neonatologist who's worked with her for over a decade, called her one of the strongest people he knows. She's an inspiration, a mentor, and a leader. But what impresses me most is her humanity. She doesn't pretend to have it all figured out. Even while mourning, she shows up. That's real strength. Producers of The Little Couple released a statement showing their support for Arnold and her family. They confirmed that filming has been paused to give them time and space to heal. Jen and Bill have been part of our TLC family for more than 10 years. We are deeply saddened by their loss and are keeping them in our thoughts and prayers. Despite the weight of grief, Arnold is slowly trying to return to her routines. She admitted that going back to work has been incredibly hard. Sometimes I walk into the NICU and feel like I can't do it. I see a tiny baby struggling, and I'm reminded of how fragile life is. But then I remember why I became a doctor. I think about the families who need me, and I keep going. To help process her emotions, Arnold has started journaling. Writing helps me make sense of the thoughts in my head. It's like talking to God or to myself. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm feeling until I write it down. Throughout everything, her husband Bill has been a source of steady support. Bill has been my rock. He doesn't try to fix it. He just holds me and listens. He shares my tears. That's exactly what I need. They've also leaned on their faith community, attending services and joining prayer groups. Arnold said this connection has been a vital part of finding peace during a time when everything feels broken. There's something powerful about being in a room full of people who are hurting but still believe. We have each other, but we don't have all the answers. We also have hope. Arnold is aware that the grieving process is far from over as the weeks stretch into months. People believe there is a timeline for grief, she remarked. After a few months, they anticipate that you will be better. But that's not how grief operates. It occurs in waves. There are days that are fine. There are days when the pain seems new again, and that's typical. That is a component of recovery. By sharing her experience, she aims to make others feel less alone in their own hardships. She remarked, so many people suffer in silence. They believe that in order to conceal their suffering, they must be powerful. However, being open about your feelings is a sign of true strength. It's requesting assistance. I'm not okay, but I'm still here. It says Arnold's message is one of perseverance rather than hopelessness. It is evidence of the human spirit's tenacity, the strength of love, and the enduring quality of faith. She remarked, I have no idea what the future will bring. I'm not sure whether the pain will ever completely subside. However, I am certain that I will continue. I shall continue to love. I'll continue to pray. And since we have nothing without hope, I will continue to believe in miracles. Dr. Jen Arnold's honest, unvarnished declaration of grief serves as a potent reminder that it's acceptable to feel broken in a society that frequently prizes excellence, output, and optimism. Honesty is the first step towards such healing, and that prayer and love may illuminate the path even in the darkest times. Consequently, she keeps praying, not because she is aware of the result, but rather because she is aware that surrender is the alternative. And for Jen Arnold, giving up is not an option. I continue to pray, she repeats, and I will be forever